the Battle Royal had that feeling where, especially when you talk to, like, as we talk about it going forward, right, guys, as a community, I have a feeling you're going to talk to different people, and each of them are going to have different moments where they feel like this was a star-making moment, or this was a star-making feud or segment that was showcased in the Dynamite Diamond Battle Royal. I know a lot of fans out there were buzzing about Hangman Page and the Dark Order and all that we got to see during that. I know you and I loved, more than anything, we loved seeing our picks last week, Sammy and Wardlow doing incredibly well and lasting until the final four. So we loved that. We loved, more than anything, we enjoyed the Miro being showcased as an absolute monster in this, right? So, and as an example, this match was a perfect showcase of how AEW builds different stories, different characters, has people interacting with each other. It was just an awesome all-around showcase, and I feel like so many different people you could claim had the biggest moment of that Battle Royal. SPD, what was your takeaway on the Battle Royal? How do you feel? Was that an elite or delete out of you? And following up on that, who do you think was the star of the Battle Royal? I know that we have MJF and Orange Cassidy in the finals now. They're going to battle next week for the winner. MJF's going to get a chance to go one-on-one and defend his Dynamite Diamond Battle championship ring, which is interesting. It's kind of cool that worked out that way.
Right.
But who do you feel like had the star-defining performance tonight?
It was very interesting how I love that they started the show with this, but it was kind of weird how they're like, oh, and by the way, there will be two winners and they're going to face off next week, which is fine, I guess, to extend it. We're all shocked, and on social media is like, what the heck? But I was reading some people's posts and said they did this last time as well. So I wasn't really familiar with when they did that last one, MJF won, but the two guys that won, I think, were the least impactful in the whole Battle Royal, honestly. Orange Cassidy was a forgetful performance. But MJF had a forgetful performance. And, it's hard not to say Miro had the top performance of the Battle Royal, with him just cleaning house and finally looking like an absolute beast that he is, which he has done over and out. He's on like a roller coaster right now. He comes out and just absolute tear. And then all of a sudden you have some kind of weak, low moments that don't really make sense. And now he's just performing awesome in the Battle Royal. And then, Wardlow and Miro right here. Oof.
SPD, wait. Can we just get a visual right there? Holy shit. Wow. That is a moment right there, guys. I mean, when you talk about like a stare down, that's a
match I want to see.
Wow, that is a feud. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, man. You had a great take, but that you had that picture up there, and I'm just like, holy smokes. It took me back because that was such a tease. Those two going at it in that match was and this is why so many people loved what Miro's performance was tonight. Was Miro just absolutely was a hoss. He was throwing people around left and right. My man was tossing people over the top. That was the Miro performance of, really the defining performance, the breakout performance for Miro on AEW. And it kind of was random, right? Like you just said.
Yeah.
Last week, he was in a forgettable segment. And now all of a sudden, he's the most dominant force in the Battle Royal. Kind of interesting. But that showdown between he and Wardlow was just absolutely epic, wasn't it? I want to see those two go head to head, man. And it just makes me want to see those Hoss Fest with Wardlow more. As a Wardlow fan, I want to see Wardlow against Hager. I want to see Wardlow against Miro. Unleash the Ward Dog.
Just give Wardlow against anybody. Put him back in the ring on a one-on-one. It would have been great that it was Wardlow and MJF, head to head.
That's
which
what I was
eventually we'll eventually get that for sure. But this Battle Royal, I hope, really plants the seeds for future feuds because there's so many different things going on. I can't wait to see more Spears and Scorpio Sky. Those guys had a great match, and I'm hoping to see another one. And then you have what is very interesting, the Dark Order. I love Johnny Hungy over here on Hangman. Hangman Adam Page is back, and then the Dark Order catching him. I mean, that's very intriguing as well.
Right.
You have the Miro cleaning house, and you have the Inner Circle just sitting in the corner, kind of waiting for things to go through. And Sammy and Jungle Boy jumping around all crazy, which was outstanding.
Wow, wow.
I mean, Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus on Dark last night were outstanding, and I tweeted it for us.
I know you're a big lucha. I know you like
For a big guy that can move. I'm a
You're a big
huge fan.
Luchasaurus fan. I
I
know that.
am.
I love that. I think that like it goes back to, man, the AEW tag team division is just absolutely incredible. I love the AEW tag team division. And we'll get into that next. But I just wanted to say, like, for this match, so I want to get into that down SPD. Was Miro, you talked a lot about Miro here. Is he your top performer of this battle royal?
I think he was, yes. The more I think about it, he had the most memorable performance. You had like the wow factors of like the surprises and then the interesting feuds. I mean, even Matt Hardy, like he had a pretty interesting and fun.
Hardy was great.
Yeah, he was. It was very entertaining to watch, and I was happy to see him dominate a little bit. I was sad to see John Silver get eliminated so soon, but whatever. It was a fast, well paced, well placed position on the card to open the show that way. It could have been a little longer, but it had its place and it told a lot of stories. And then it just segued into the next match. But for me, it's definitely an elite match with a lot of stories that I want to see, that I'm eager to see, that I hope that they do continue to down the line. So for sure, the Battle Royal was an elite. It'll be interesting. It makes sense now that I think of Orange Cassidy wearing that ring. Just having it out like the way he does his handshakes, just like this. So having that ring, I can see Sammy Guevara costing MJF the ring, and then you're gonna have some crazy turmoil with the Inner Circle for sure.
So I almost bordered on picking this as a delete, honestly. And the main reason why is because of the two participants that won. I feel like you mentioned it was really not this wasn't a showcase of the top two performers of that. I feel like, and they missed out on a storytelling opportunity or two that would have been, I think, a bit of more, not to tout our show, but I do think that your idea with Sammy winning, Sammy and MJF going head to head would have been awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Especially, and it would have also tied into what we saw with Jericho's match against Kazarian, right? That would have been a really nice way to have those two matches flow into each other, telling a common story about the Inner Circle's struggles and possible implosion. And next week's show would then be even more must-see, because then it would be like, are they going to be able to go head to head and still stay together?
Right, exactly.
I think that Sammy versus MJF would have been a beautiful opportunity, and I called for Wardlow because I'm a Wardlow fan, and I think the guy is an absolute star, and I think that there are a lot of us who are chomping at the bit to see him get. And again, I don't want to rush him breaking away from MJF. I know that's the long story. I get that, right? And we have to hold out that carrot, right? But
mm-hmm.
I'm also at a place where, as a fan, we are put in situations where mostly he's being used as a guy who's standing around.
Yeah.
And that's not the right use of his talent. It's just not. He's way too good in the ring to not utilize him in more opportunities. So I struggled. I almost made it a delete because, again, you just mentioned Miro was truly the dominant force in that match. And I'm not super juiced about Orange Cassidy versus MJF next week, even though that is on paper a match of two of AEW's biggest stars, perhaps its most popular babyface and most hated heel.
True.
Right. So
yeah.
I have to come around and maybe step back because I'm not the biggest Orange Cassidy fan. I mean, he's okay in my book. I know you love him. That's okay. We're all different in the way we like wrestling. That's cool.
Yeah.
But I think that MJF versus Orange Cassidy is a cool matchup, though. I think that is when I step back from my immediate reaction of wanting to see Wardlow or maybe see Sammy from a storytelling perspective, see those two guys pair up against MJF. I will say AEW is going all in, man. Like, they're putting all their cards on the table. MJF versus Orange Cassidy is legitimately top, like the most hated heel and the most over babyface in the company. And they're two young stars too, right? So this is going to be a feud that could potentially be one that goes on for a long time. I have a feeling that Orange Cassidy could be the type of character that gives MJF fits, drives him crazy. So that'll be interesting, So that said, I am going to give it an elite just because it was such a great overall performance. There were a lot of stories that were told, and I love battle royals in general. I think battle royals are a lot of fun.
Yeah, me too.
It's just a great way to get a lot of different people opportunities and
build
when
stories.
Utilized right, like tonight, when utilized right tonight, you get to see so many different stories progress tonight. And I feel like Miro really at the end, even though he didn't win, I think most people what they're going to remember out of that battle royal was Miro's intensity and his interaction with the best friends. That feud has been one that we've been really like down on, but when Miro came out at the end of that and his eyes were like ready to bulge out of his head and he looked like he was going to choke Trent, it was just an incredible moment. And I think that overall it was that was enough of a reason for me to say, hey, this is something that is an elite out of me.